All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Today, we are diving into something that I think a lot of people are talking about,
Yeah.
and specifically some controversy surrounding the NFL playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those calls were pretty crazy.
So the big thing here is the Kansas City Chiefs game against Houston Texans and this idea of flopping, and this isn't really new. This has been going on for a while.
No, not at all. I mean, we've seen this idea of quarterbacks, kind of playing up the contact or trying to draw penalties for a few years now. But
Right.
this game really kind of brought it to the forefront.
It brought it front and center because
Yeah.
you've got Patrick Mahomes, who, amazing quarterback, considered by many to be the best
Right, one of the best for sure.
in the league right now. And there was a particular play in the fourth quarter of that game where it looked like he maybe slowed down, in front of a Texans defender instead of just running out of bounds, and that sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah, and this is where, Troy Aikman, who was doing commentary for the game, he just came right out and said it. It looks like Mahomes is trying to draw a penalty, and Aikman would know a thing or two
That's not
about
playing quarterback, right?
random guy.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, for people who maybe don't follow football as closely, explain what roughing the passer means.
Sure. So basically, roughing the passer is a penalty that's designed to protect the quarterback
Right.
from, unnecessary or really dangerous hits, especially after they've already thrown the ball. It's all about player safety.
Yeah.
But it can be a really tough call for the refs to make in the heat of the moment.
Well,
Is it a legal hit or are they going too far?
so are you saying Aikman thought that Mahomes was trying to make it look like a roughing the passer penalty when it actually wasn't? Pretty much, yeah. He and the ESPN rules analyst, Russell Yerk, both seemed to agree that Mahomes was trying to sell it a bit, and they were pointing out that at that point in the play, he was technically a runner, not a passer, so he wouldn't have been protected by that rule anyway.
And it wasn't just that one play, right?
Yeah,
There were other questionable calls in that game that really got people fired up.
absolutely. I mean, there were a couple of roughness penalties called against the Texans defenders, Henry Tutu and Fullerunsa Fatukasi. And even Aikman and Yerk thought those were pretty weak. They thought the defenders were making legitimate plays on the ball.
And we can't forget about that comment from Texans rookie Will Anderson Jr. after the game. He said, quote, "We knew it was going to be us versus the refs going into this game," end quote.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty loaded statement right there. I mean, it
Yeah.
really shows how frustrated the Texans were, and it kind of feeds into this bigger feeling that some teams get preferential treatment from the refs,
Right.
and that's not good for anybody. It
Yeah.
just erodes trust in the fairness of the game.
Absolutely. So you've got Aikman, a Hall of Famer Super Bowl champion, basically calling on the NFL to do something about this whole flopping issue. What do you think they can actually do?
Well, they've got a couple of options, right? They could clarify the rules around
Mhm.
roughing the passer, especially when the quarterback is outside the pocket. They
Mhm.
could also implement stricter penalties for players who are clearly embellishing contact, trying to fool the refs into throwing a flag.
Okay. But how do you enforce something like that? I mean, where's the line between a player protecting himself and intentionally flopping?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's definitely a gray area, but look, the NFL has changed rules before to adapt to how the game is played.
Right.
I mean, look at how the rules around defensive pass interference have changed over the years.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good point. So this whole debate really raises some questions about sportsmanship and the ethics of competition. I mean, where do we draw the line between playing smart and being deceptive?
Exactly. And that's a question that goes way beyond football, right? It applies to all competitive sports.
Yeah.
Where's that line between gamesmanship and flat out cheating?
Yeah, and it's even more interesting when you consider that the Chiefs are going for their third Super Bowl title in a row.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're a dynasty.
they're a dynasty. Will this controversy change how they're viewed? Will the refs be watching Mahomes more closely,
Yeah.
or will this just all fade away?
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, that's for sure.
So for our listeners out there, this goes way beyond just one game or one player. It really gets to the heart of how sports evolve and that constant push and pull between competition and fairness.
Right.
What do you think about all this? Where do you draw that line between smart play and deception? Let us know your thoughts on our social media pages,
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys.
and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See ya.